What's good, everybody? We've got a real redraft league going on right now. About to start up any second here. We've got we're in the 10th spot here. So I got to decide how I want to attack this and who's going to be available at that 10th spot. Got the 2-3 right after that. So let's see how we play this. We should be starting here any minute. Also answering any questions, redraft, dynasty, any questions y'all got? I'm interested to see who's about to fall for me here and what route I'm about to take. We shall see who's on the board. I have an idea of what I'd like to do. But that can all change, depending who's on the draft board at that time. So, you can always go in having a plan, but you've got to play the draft board because, normally things happen that probably shouldn't. And if there's some opportunity to, take advantage, and you might have to, change course from what your original plan is. And this should be starting, supposed to be starting now. I'm not the one that is starting this, so we shall. I'm gonna make sure everyone has a fair chance. I changed the date to tomorrow. Oh man, we changed the date till tomorrow. I did not see that. All right, so well, I guess we are not drafting. So let me end this, and maybe I'll just start another one and hop on. We'll just do Q&A and shit. I'll be back in like 30 minutes or so, because this draft now all of a sudden at the last minute they decide to postpone it till tomorrow. So that sucks. So we got no draft. So we'll just do Q&A, any kind of Q&A, redraft, dynasty, whatever it is out there. You can throw it out there. Damn, that sucks. That really sucks. Fantasy football, triple sevens. What's up, man? If you had to pick one sleeper, who would you pick? I will actually do you one better. I will pull up what I call my Supernova 12, which is 12 guys here that I have. But there's some sleepers. There's some guys that could be obvious. But give me a second. I'll pull it up for you right here. What up, Hammer? Hammer missing in action. You hopping on or what? I'm about to get off and come back on later. If you want to hop on, Hammer. All right, so let me pull up what I've got here. And hopefully you can see this pretty well. Garrett Wilson, Olave, Judy, Elijah Moore, Drake London, Calvin Ridley, Deshaun Watson, Lamar Jackson, Sky Moore, who I've been on for a while, J.K. Gibby, Bijan Gibbs, JSN. How deep of a sleeper are you looking for? Fantasy football. How deep are you talking? And what kind of position? I'll give you. And I'll give you a more in-depth sleeper. Just give me an idea what you're looking for. Let me just run down. I mean, if you're talking running backs, I mean, J.K. Dobbins is one of my favorite guys to draft because he's going so late. Let's see. James Cook, David Montgomery is another one. He's going crazy late. Tank Bigsby is a guy who I think is going to get a lot of work this year. I think we're kind of sleeping a little bit on what Tank Bigsby is going to do. Um, A backup running back really is always a good option, especially later on in drafts. Instead of stacking your team with a bunch of like roster clogger wide receivers that you are never going to play, um, just use backup running backs. Yeah, I still got Judy on there. I didn't take him off because this was set. Months ago I had this set, so I'm not gonna take him off. I could technically replace him, but I'm still gonna keep him up there. SXP, what up? Yeah, I mean, sucks. Horrible news. As we were about to have this draft at the last minute, these guys decided to make the draft till tomorrow. I'm guessing somebody couldn't make it or something like that, or wasn't going to be able because it is a fast draft, and they really hurt my feelings here because I was ready for this shit. I got 10th pick in this redraft league. It's one QB, normal kind of PPR start 8. So I got the 10 slots. I got some different ideas of kind of what I want to do there, and I get on, and then I see this message that postponing till tomorrow. So that sucks. That sucks. That sucks. But I'm here. So any kind of Q&As or any kind of anything y'all want to talk about, I am here for it. See if there's any recent news that came out. Obviously, we've got the Mike Evans situation, right? If any of y'all got any thoughts on Mike Evans, what do you think is going to happen there? Do they wind up trading him? If they don't give him a deal, do they trade him? And if they trade him, where does he go? If they're not going to pay him, it makes sense to just trade him so that at least you get something out of it. So I know there's been talks about the Jets. Obviously, they've got some cap room. But what do y'all think if the Jets go out and get a Mike Evans? If the Jets were to get Mike Evans, do you think that would hurt Garrett Wilson a little bit? I mean, it would have to at least a little bit. Um, Evans seems like he's so old. He's just been in the league for so long, but he's a 1,000-yard wide receiver every single year. So I'm okay with drafting Evans like late. I think there is a very good chance that he does get moved, and it might not be right away. It might be more towards like the trade deadline if they don't wind up giving him a deal. And then you're talking about obviously Hawkinson got his deal, historic deal. I mean, no, not a fan of Akers. Not a fan of Akers at all. I don't like Akers. I don't trust Akers. I don't trust that whole offense in general. I'm off of Cooper Cup. I'm not sure that Stafford even finishes the season as a QB, right? If that team is bad, they might not play Stafford for the whole season, right? They might want to see what the rookies got, right? So I'm not a fan of Akers. I just think it's going to be a bad team. I don't like Akers in general. He is on a contract year, but no, I'm passing on Akers unless it's value enough for you to just take them at a certain point, right? I mean, at a certain point when certain guys are left, yeah, I guess you can take them, but I don't particularly like them. I'm just avoiding that. I'm avoiding the whole Rams situation, just like the Colts, avoiding the whole Colts situation. So Drake May looking as advertised right now on TV, locking up a type. Yeah, I mean, we've been talking about it since last year. Drake May and Caleb Williams. So obviously, some other guys will come to fruition as the season goes on. So we'll see. We'll see how this turns out. But yeah, it's looking like Drake and Caleb are going to be the guys. Evans is going to want a contender. Yeah, exactly. Would have been a good move for the Jets, KC, Broncos, Dallas Chargers. I agree. 100%. Might be tough for Dallas after they just brought in Cooks. The Chargers, I mean, they're healthy right now, but I mean, if somebody gets injured, that's a possibility. Broncos could be a decent possibility. KC, always a good possibility. I don't know if they have the cap space though, and they really don't need a Mike Evans type. Like for them to go up and spend. I mean, they won last year with Juju as basically the number one wide receiver. So I don't know if they need to necessarily go out and get a Mike Evans. The Jets would be nice. I mean, they don't have much outside of Garrett Wilson. Obviously, you got Lazard there, but Not much outside of that. Corey Davis is done. Might wind up calling it quits. So week one, should I flex Mike Williams versus Miami or Montgomery versus KC? That is definitely a tough one because I do think that they might ease in Quentin Johnson a little bit. So Miami obviously is a good offense. Defense isn't that good. So yeah, Mike Williams is a good wide receiver to play there. But then you got Monty going against KC. Now, does that turn into a some kind of shootout? Maybe Monty's not getting as many carries. That's a tough one. That's a tough one. And Mike Williams is always hit or miss. So maybe give me, and you could say, hey, maybe KC just starts blowing the doors off the Lions. I don't know. But what could be a shootout in Miami could be a shootout in KC. That's a tough one. Give me Monty. Give me the running back I know that's going to get touches. That's a real tough one. Right now, you want to play a wide receiver. But with a healthy Keenan Allen, a healthy Quentin Johnson, and you've got Mike Williams, that's tough. Give me Monty for the automatic touches. Fuck it. I have an auction draft coming up. Oof. Auction drafts are tough. 16 player roster. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so that's a start 7. And then you've got kickers, obviously, and defense in there. So some IDP. Looking to build my team around Geno or Watson. Do I spend on running backs or wide receivers? Need value. I mean, it is a shallow league, so running backs could be a little more important. But you got to start 3 wide receivers. Only got to start 2 running backs. Typically with auctions, and I don't have any leagues that I'm in that are auction draft, but I have done a few like mock drafts of them. So typically I find the best way to go is to kind of be very patient and wait. Because people are going to blow their money easily. I'd feel a lot more comfortable with Watson than I do Geno. I think Geno will be fine, but I think Watson just has a higher upside there. So I'd rather Watson, and running backs, wide receivers. You might have to wait and see who you want to go after because right off the bat, people are going to be spending their money. They're going to be spending their money for some of these top guys. So uh, I'm going to is this I'm guessing it's PPR, no extra like points per carry or anything for the running back position. I'd probably like to get, you know, some top wide receivers or even a top tight end. If you could get one of those top 3 tight ends, you know, Andrews, Kelsey, or Hawkinson, it's all going to depend on like who's picking what players that are going up, you know, whoever's turn it is. And seeing what your which players auctioning off. So I'm always going to prioritize the wide receivers. Now it is a very small league, so a very good QB is going to be like essential. That will give you a little bit of room. A good tight end is going to give you some good room. Not really the middling tight ends, but you got to get a top one if you can. So QB points after 125 yards passing. So yeah, I mean, I like wide receivers. Yeah, definitely hold on to the money. So, Caddy, what up, Caddy? My bad, I didn't see you over there. What's up, Caddy? So yeah, I would focus on the RB points after 13 yards rushing. So QB points you only get after 125 yards passing. So you probably want a guy that's going to pass the. I mean, you're going to want a gunslinger. RB points after 13 yards. Okay. Anything weird with the wide receivers? Or is that kind of normal? Is that normal there? Let me know if the wide receivers are any different. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to give advice on it because it's the auction. Like my best advice would be to just be very patient. Let people blow their money. And they might be, one or two guys top heavy, and the rest of their guys are going to be shit. So same as RB. Okay, after 13 yards. Yeah, I'm going to take the receivers. Probably go receiver first. But again, it all depends on what you need to spend. If you can get a top running back for cheap after people are blowing their money, then go for it. But it's going to depend on who's actually up on the board there. Basically, going to try and take best player available. But if you can get the advantage at QB and tight end, that's going to be big. Caddy got a draft in 2 hours. Okay, Caddy. Okay, what draft slot you in, Caddy? Let me know. And do you have a little bit of a plan kind of going in? No, I mean in this format, Peoples Jones is going to be useless. He's not even startable, I don't think. Did you say it was how many 16 player roster? How many teams is it? A 10 team, 12 team? How many teams is it? Because people, I mean, with that short of it's a start seven. Peoples Jones is not going to be startable, probably not even rosterable when you really think of it. Elijah Moore is a nice guy that I like. That stack is definitely nice, but again, in the format that you're in, you want the hitters. So I'd prefer Amari. It's not something that I'm going to shoot for. I mean, if it's available, if it happens, it happens. But I wouldn't go out of my way to make that happen. If that makes sense. But yeah, I do like Watson. He's cheap this year. He's going crazy late. And he should definitely be a top 12 guy. So Caddy said he's got the redraft eight man. Man, you and the eight mans, man. It's so small. It's so hard. Like it's rough because everybody's got a great team on the eight man. That's just straight like almost luck. Like there's not a crazy amount of skill that I got the 1-6. All right, I'm hoping to get Jamar Chase first. I mean, for me, the Jamar Chase is the 102 for me. Right after JJ, I'm taking Jamar. So probably won't though. Yeah, I don't know if Jamar's gonna make it to you there at the 1-6. I mean, you could take any of those other guys though. I mean, maybe Cheetah, Diggs. I don't know what running backs are gonna be there, but CMC, Bijan, Eckler, Saquon. You're gonna have some options, obviously. So 8 man. I mean, I'm probably leaning towards wide receiver there. If you can grab two, top 10 wide receivers right off the bat in your first two picks. I mean, the running backs also obviously are nice, but that does come with a little bit of risk at the running back position. And it's only 8 man, so there's going to be plenty of, there's going to be plenty of running backs you can kind of choose from. What I don't want to do is try and play catch up at wide receiver with everybody. I hope you do get chased though, Caddy. Let me know what happens tomorrow. Let me know what happens tomorrow night. Let me know what happens with that. We had obviously Wilson land on IR for the Dolphins, so A-Chain is going to get an opportunity, but he's hurt as well now. So you got like Chris Brooks, who I've been told everybody as soon as he was signed to throw in the taxi. If he's gone, I might go for Lamb. Yeah, I'd go for Lamb after. For me, it's JJ Chase, Cheetah. I think I've got like Diggs and CD after that. Yeah, Cheetah's gonna be good too. As long as you trust Tua, as long as you trust Tua. I found that this weird thing that's happening this year is where people are kind of all in on Cheetah, but then they're, not comfortable with taking Tua. Or not comfortable with Tua in general as a QB. I mean, if you're gonna believe in Hill and take Hill high, then you have to believe that Tua is gonna be fine. So see what else is happening. Cooper Cup, I had the big setback, right? Big setback for Cooper Cup. I told y'all not to mess with Cooper Cup. I've been, avoiding him all off season, and then of course when he first hurt the hammy. Now he hurts it again. Now he's going to some kind of specialist. I mean, this is not good for Cooper Cup. The writing's kind of on the wall for it. His time may be coming here, and just the Rams in general. Again, just not a great team. Any buy lows whose value can possibly go up when the season starts. Um, well, my Supernova 12 was basically guys you could have bought low on at one point during the offseason, right? Before Aaron Rodgers went to the Jets. Garrett Wilson, before Elijah Moore even got traded. I've been telling people to get Elijah Moore. That video I put out like right after the season. And you can go back and check those out. Some guys to stash and stuff. Sky Moore, his value is going to go up a ton, but it's been going up already. I mean, everybody's late to the party now. I mean, when you could have got Sky Moore for nothing. J.K. Dobbins, Gibby. But let me take a look at Sleeper real quick. I'll run through. I agree with Tua and Hill take. Fortunately, I sold Hill share for St. Brown in the league after last season. That's fine. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. That's all right. That's all right. Let's run through Sleeper real quick. Let's look at some wide receivers that may gain some value here. Jahan Dotson's a pretty obvious one. Zay Flowers. Um, if you're talking Dynasty, Marquise Brown, Hollywood Brown is going dirt cheap right now because they got no QB. Deontay Johnson. A lot of people are low on Deontay Johnson. This guy was wide receiver 31 last year, I think it was, and had no touchdowns. That is going to, increase. That has to increase. Jonathan Mingo, I think, could be a guy that could emerge. Rashad Bateman is another one because he's been injured. People are kind of off of him a little bit. Tyler Lockett still gets disrespected, of course, because JSN's in there. And let's see. As much as I hate Gabe Davis, he is going late enough now where I don't mind taking him in certain spots. You know, and he said, "Who you got for top 6 to 10 running backs?" So running backs. Hold on, I just posted it on Instagram. If you're not following on Instagram, just check in the description. My Instagram will be up there. So RBs, actually, I didn't post my my RB ones yet, but I've got CMC, Eckler, Bijan, Saquon, Chubb, Henry, and then you've got kind of Jacobs, Pollard, Najee, Gibbs, Mixon are kind of the next ones for me. Fading JT, so been fading JT, been off of the JT. 3 stacks. Well, you gotta love the Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, right? It's a major one. I mean, the Kirk, JJ, the Burrow and Chase is of course is an awesome one. You've got AJ Brown and Hurts. For me, um, I mean, the Burrow chase is an incredible stat because Burrow's going to be throwing 40 plus tutties. So give me the Jamar Chase Burrow. Give me give me Tua and Cheetah first. Give me Tua Cheetah, then give me Jamar Chase Burrow. You could argue Aaron Rodgers and Garrett Wilson, or even Kirk Cousins and Justin Jefferson also. But the Josh Allen Diggs, I think that's kind of that'll be my biggest one. List ones on your list to obtain. The easiest ones is Sky and Gibson. I got Sky. Yeah, if you did it months ago before, all the reports started coming out, that Sky Moore was going to get a lot more work. I mean, he was cheap. He was cheap. Even Lamar Jackson after the season, before he re-signed or before he got the contract, he was available. Deshaun Watson is starting to pick up a little more steam, but people still are, disrespecting. Nobody wanted him after last season. So he was, I mean, I got him for like a first and a few thirds in one league, super flex league. So Calvin Ridley was also cheap before they started practicing and you started seeing him actually on the field. He was pretty cheap. Drake London, same thing. Nobody really believes in him. Elijah Moore was dirt cheap when he was still on the Jets. Even when he first originally went to the Browns, he was dirt cheap. But again, started picking up steam as we start, practicing and these videos and stuff start coming out. So Deontay is very, very disrespected. I don't like it at all, man. I don't like it at all. What about Kirk? Seems he is too. He's another little sleeper because you're getting him so late. Like that's a good one as well. I didn't finish going through some of the sleepers there, but yes, Kirk. I think he can still finish as a wide receiver too, even with Ridley there. But I mean, he's at least safely a wide receiver 3. I mean, that's going to be a high passing offense. So I think he fits in perfectly as a wide receiver 3 in fantasy, but he's going to wide receiver 2 upside. At 4 point, would you prefer the Hurts AJ Brown stack over who? Over who? My only problem with Hurts and AJ Brown and just the Eagles in general is they don't pass as much. They don't throw the ball so much. So there's not as many opportunities. Now they're cashing out on the opportunities that they did have obviously last year, but is there another gear to that? Is there more to what we saw last year, or is last year kind of like the ceiling ish that we saw in that passing offense, right? Um So yeah, I mean, and even in 4 point, like I love Joe Burrow, I love Patrick Mahomes. They're safer players because with the Russian quarterbacks, like they have to rush, they have to do their thing rushing. You're banking on that. Lamar Jackson, Jalen Hurts, these guys were not available for you last year when you needed it. When you were in the playoffs. So I'm scared of the ATL passing game. Have a couple Pitts in London shares. Fear the worst. If Ritter don't look good, the value drops. No, not for me. I'm hoping Ritter don't. Well, let me not say I hope Ritter doesn't look good, but I think Taylor Heineke is a plus for this team. If you've got Taylor Heineke throwing the football, I think that's big for London and Pitts even more. So, like, I'm okay if Ritter ain't the one. Fucking throw Heineke in there. But even still, I mean, Ritter threw the ball 30 times a game last year, right? Averaged 30 pass attempts just those 4 games that he played. Drake London, what he did over those last 4 games, if you just kind of multiply that for the course of the season, he would have had 1,400 receiving yards, and about 150 targets if you do the math there. So, like, I'm okay. Ritter doesn't have to be great; he just has to be okay. So he just has to be okay. I'm still okay with Pitts and for London. I mean, we talk about the team that rushes the football a lot, but we don't, obviously Ritter is not Jalen Hurts and Jalen Hurts is not on Atlanta, but the Philadelphia Eagles ran the ball at a top 3 rate last year, and they still were able to produce 2 top 10 wide receivers. So, not saying that Ritter is going to be able to do that. But both of these guys, Pitts and London, even when on the field together, had a 30% target share each. So I'm still I love getting Pitts and London for the low. First Diggs and Allen. No, I still like Diggs and Allen. You could definitely make the argument for Hurts and AJ Brown, but I feel more safe with Diggs and Allen. Any chance Mooney outplays DJ Moore? No, there's no chance that Mooney outplays DJ Moore. But it is a contract year for Mooney. There were some trade talks that were going about. So we'll see if anything comes to fruition there, or at least before the trade deadline. But if not, will be a free agent next year if they don't re-sign him. So I'm hoping they don't re-sign and give him a chance to go somewhere else. This way, he can do some damage somewhere because there's a bunch of teams that can use a good wide receiver, right? The Buffalo Bills, I mean the Chiefs. Higbee, I love Higbee. Higbee's a very, very deep sleeper for a tight end. If you're going to wait on tight end, if you don't get one of those top three-ish guys, you might as well wait. And if you want to wait even longer and longer, wait past Fryermuth, wait past, go dirt. Higbee's a guy you can get incredibly late. Cole Kmet, you can feel a little bit more comfortable with. You can get him a little bit earlier, but still going crazy late. But Higbee's going almost like undrafted in some leagues. So, like, I'm okay with Higbee. For the beginning of the season. The problem is over the course of the season, right? Is Stafford going to be the quarterback for the whole season? That's what I'm worried about. If that team's going to be good enough to continue to play Stafford and not want to see what the rookie looks like, right? That's my biggest fear. And how healthy is Stafford, with the elbow, with the arm? I mean, so there's a few question marks for the Rams. I'm kind of avoiding that, but I do like his Higbee as a sneaky kind of guy. What has been your favorite trades you made this offseason? Mine, I traded Chase and Zeke for Olave. Traded Chase and Zeke for Olave and Lamb and B Rob. So you got Olave and Lamb for Chase? Oh, jeez. Yeah, that's a sick move there. For me, I traded Trey Lance when the hype was up. When we weren't sure what what was going to be happening with Purdy with the injury. I traded Trey Lance and George Pickens for Chris Olave. That was one of my favorites that I've done in the offseason. I think I got Deshaun Watson for a first and a third or 2/3 or something like that. It was a cheap way for me to get Deshaun Watson. That one was a favorite one for me too. Let me see. What else did I pull off? I traded Stafford and Stevenson and a late 2024 first in a 10-team superflex for Sam Darnold, TJ Hawkinson, and Brees Hall. I like that trade. I'm not as high on Stevens, especially Dynasty. I mean, he's going to be fine for this year, but going forward, I'm not sure. A late 2024 first in I'm a top 3 team, so I didn't really care about that pick. And Stafford, I mean, give me the top 3 tight end and Hawkinson, give me Brees Hall. So I was happy with that. Let me see what else I did here. Here's another one I did. Deshaun Watt. I traded what did I trade? I got Deshaun Watson. So I traded away DK Metcalf, Kyler Murray, and Jalen Warren. And I received Deshaun Watson, Samaje Perine, and Deontay Johnson. So I got the quarterback to win now. I didn't have to wait on Kyler. I downgraded from Metcalf to Deontay, which I think Deontay has a huge season this year, and basically traded backup running backs with Perine and Warren. So I think those were some of my favorites. Let me see if there was any other ones. I'm in a bunch of leagues, so I kind of got to run through, see if I made any other trades there. I think that's it. Yeah, I think that's all. That's some of the best ones I've done so far. So yeah, look back now, that guy's. But yeah, he's definitely pissed, man. He's definitely pissed. What top 10 running back and wide receiver do you think bust this season? Okay, if you want to still consider Cooper Kupp top 10, I think Cooper Kupp bust. Devontae Adams, I'm steering away from as well. I'm not messing with Devontae. So I'd say those two, Cup and Devontae, are two guys that I'm steering away from. I know you said pick one, but I'll pick two for you there. And when we're talking about running backs, I think that I don't know why for some reason I just don't like Tony Pollard. I have a bad feeling about Tony Pollard. Um, I don't have him anywhere. I like to get a share of him if I possibly can. JT, of course, I'm out on JT. We're not messing with JT this year. It's a total avoid there. And if I had to pick another one, I'd say Derrick Henry. I know we say the same thing every year, right? He's old, he gets a ton of carries. This is the year he's going to break down, but at some point it's going to happen, and I'm not going to be the one stuck with him when it happens. So, and steer away from Derrick Henry also. What about you? Do you have any running backs or wide receivers that you are straight think may bust this season? Traded 2 seconds during the draft to get the 1-9 and 12 team, and Jordan. Oh man, Jordan Addison fell to the 1-9. Yeah, I'm fine with that. 2 seconds. That's awesome. That's awesome. I thought Tony Pollard too. JT Soccer could play into next offseason. Yeah, I mean the problem with JT is he's not going to play the first 4 games. He still has to pass a physical in order to come back, and he has to be active for 6 games in order to get credit for the season. So, is he going to come back after the 4 games, play his 6 games, and then my knee hurts, my ankle hurts, or something? There's no incentive for him to play the whole season, especially on a team that's not going to make the playoffs. There's no reason for him to, take the chances of hurting his body or more than it already is. So he's somehow got to play 6 games. So I'm way off on JT. Forget about JT for me. Yeah, Tony Pollard, and people hate me for that take, but I just have a bad feeling. I don't know exactly what it is. I mean, he's never had the full workload, and then when they did give him more workload, he broke his leg. But there is nobody else there. So that's the thing with Tony Pollard, is that there's nobody else there. I mean, Deuce Vaughn, I mean, who's going to score all the Zeke touchdowns, right? Is it going to be Pollard? Did they bring somebody in finally? I mean, they didn't draft anybody. They haven't brought anybody in. So, the situation for Pollard is looking up. I just don't know if he can finish, top 5. I think he's kind of stays in that same area, that 7-8 range, what he did last year. I can see at least that kind of production. But for some reason, I'm just getting bad vibes off of Tony Pollard. And Carter, what up, Carter? Who wins this trade? Team one gets Kenny Pickett, Michael Mayer, 2024 first. So a 2024 first, Michael Mayer and Kenny Pickett. I need a little more context, Carter. Is this a 1 QB? Is this a super flex? And how many starters is it? How many starters on offense do we have to start altogether, including QB, running back, wide receiver, tight end? Don't count defense. Don't count kicker. Don't count defense or IDP. Kenny Pickett, Mayer, and a 2024 first. Bryce Young, Dalton Kincaid, and a 2024 third. For me, it's easily the one with the first. You can cross out, I guess, Mayer and Kincaid. I mean, I like Kincaid a little bit more, but not a huge deal there. But you get in the first, you're getting Kenny Pickett, you're getting Michael Mayer. I mean, Bryce is still a rookie. Pickett could take a step up this year. So I like the flexibility that you'll have with the first. Because tight ends, the problem is tight ends don't really matter. If you missed the Warp episode that I did with Scott Connor, check on our page. It should be right there when you click up. The first thing you'll see up there is the Warp episode. What is Warp? Go watch that episode, and you can see, what tight ends actually really mean, and the difference that they actually make from one another. If you don't have a top 3 guy, they really don't mean anything. It's all kind of just flat all the way across. So yeah, for me, I'll take the QB and the first. The first is what throws me to this side automatically. It's just give me the first, because what you can do with that first, the flexibility that you're going to have with that first, that's what you want. That's what you want. Kincaid is not going to win you the league over Michael Mayer, and the third round pick is pretty useless. That's just something that you have in your back pocket to make another trade or something. So give me the Pickett and the first. First four picks, I would assume JJ Chase, CMC Eckler. I don't know about fifth thoughts. JJ Chase, CMC Eckler. I just did one yesterday. It all depends, man. Every league is different, and everybody's gonna pick different. So you could say Bijan there. You can say, CD. You can say Saquon. You can say even Chubb. I mean, you could kind of throw any of those guys up there for that. Yeah, you're good, bro. That's what I'm here for. You can pick the brain. What wide receiver and running back 11 through 20 finish in the top 10? I think Eckler's a bust. I do think that his pass catching is going to come down. Obviously, there was just no pass catchers there last year. Everybody was getting hurt. This year's a little bit different. You got Quentin Johnson coming in there. But we'll see if these guys stay healthy, right? Mike Williams and Keenan Allen. But Eckler is the running back that's going to be there. He's still going to get a ton of work in the passing game. He's going to get some rushing work as well. There's nobody there really to take away the goal line touches from him, which he's been having the last 2 years. So I'm still okay with Eckler. I do think that he takes a little bit of a step down. I mean, another like 20 touchdown season would be insane if he was able to do that. And I don't see him, having over 100 targets this year. So I'm 11 through 20. Let me hold on. Let me pull up a mock real quick. That's not it. All right. What running back and wide receiver finish in the top 10? So I mean, Ridley for me could finish in the top 10. Olave, Higgins, Waddle. I'm not sure where you have those guys ranked, but Amari Cooper. That'd probably be my guesses. Any of those guys. And if we're looking at running backs, not in the top 10. And again, it depends where you rank these guys, but Jameer Gibbs, Kenny Walker, um, J.K. Dobbins is one of my big guys that I like this year. Obviously, TN. If you want to go even further, Montgomery, if he has a ton of touchdowns, which I don't think he's getting 17 touchdowns, but a guy that can possibly out there. Javonte Williams, I mean, shit, this guy's like defying the odds out here. How much work they're going to give him, I don't know. That's going to be tough. But I like taking Kamara really late too if he lasts a while. If you can get him really late. So Carter said Superflex 11 starters. Yeah, 11 starters. Give me the pick automatically. Give me Kenny Pickett. Give me the pick. I'm not worried about the tight ends there. Give me the pick because that's almost like a tier down, right? Bryce Young for Kenny Pickett in the first. Give me Kenny Pickett in the first, right? Unless and which team are you on? Which side are you on? Anyway, 'cause you can use Bryce. Like if you had Bryce, you can use him to tier up at quarterback if you wanted to. Add something on top of Bryce and go and get yourself, a top 12-ish, top 10-ish guy, depending on the state of your team. No problem, Carter. Appreciate you. Appreciate you coming through. If you have a top four tight end, you better hold because they are hard to get. Yeah, yeah. I'm not trading any of those guys unless you need to down tier. If you need to, if you need to rebuild, depending on your situation. So Jay, what up, Jay? Appreciate you, bro. So if Chase is off the board, I would go Diggs and Allen in the second. You can. I mean, it is an 8 team, so getting one of those top QBs could be really important. So yeah, if you can get that stack, I'd be okay with that. Any surprises in the top 20? Any surprises in the top 20? I think Addison has potential to. He's probably more in the wide receiver 3 range, but I mean Addison, Flowers, I mean Quentin Johnson, any of those rookie guys really. Because if there's injuries in, with Keenan Allen or Mike Williams and Quentin Johnson steps up into that role, that's going to be sick. Sky Moore. Who else? Jahan Dotson. Deontay Johnson, I mentioned him before. Ayuk, even though he was wide receiver 15 last year. Those would be some of the guys. Debo, I'm avoiding. I've been avoiding Debo. Rashard Bateman, he's a nice sleeper I like too because he's going crazy late. Nobody believes in him since he's been injured. And I really like Amari Cooper this year as he was good last year, but I really like Elijah Moore also. Let's see if there's anyone else really that I think. I still think Jaden Reed has a shot to be, the guy over there in Green Bay. I know that might sound crazy, but I've been on the Reed train. Dylan, what up, Dylan? Yeah, Elijah Moore. I mean, to the moon for Elijah Moore. And again, if y'all missed that video I put out a few months ago, right after the season, Elijah Moore was on there. He was still a Jet. Basically, we're telling everybody just buy low if you can. Well, it's on Madison and Aaron Jones. I think that the Packers are going to run the ball a lot. All right, you got Jordan Love there, but you do got AJ Dillon as well. So you kind of got a split backfield. You kind of got a limited upside, really. I guess for Aaron Jones, I think he can finish anywhere. I think he's more of an RB2 this year. I don't know if he's got RB1 upside at all, but he should finish anywhere from the 12 to 18-ish range. I think we'll see what happens. And then Madison, same kind of deal. I mean, maybe mid to back end RB2. I mean, he's going to be on a good offense, and an offense that's going to score the ball a lot. So he does have an opportunity to score a lot of touchdowns. We'll see how that turns out, but I've got him as an RB2. I'm not comfortable with him as my RB1, but either of those guys really give me RB2. I think they finish as RB2s. So Diggs Hill. Diggs or Hill, Barkley or Allen. Should I go for another top wide receiver? Because I feel like by the third, the elite runner back RBs would be gone. Yeah, I mean, if the elite RBs are gone, I'm not gonna take like the next RB. Like take advantage of another position, take a top guy at another position instead of like taking the RBs that are left over because you could do that after, right? We got to win this ship this year, Caddy. Packers are confusing seeing that they wanted JT. I mean, it makes sense because you've got Aaron Jones has got one more year after this year, and they could cut him after this year if they want to save on some cap. And AJ Dillon's on a contract year. So, they are going to need a running back. They do want to, of course, help out their young QB. And if you've got a guy like JT back there to take some pressure off of Jordan Love and some of the young wide receivers and, Jaden Reed and Christian Watson, take some pressure off them. I think JT's a really good fit for the Packers. And it's unusual. And Hammer said it the other night also. Typically, it's not something that they do or they would do. But they wanted to go after JT. Apparently they wanted, I think, Christian Watson and AJ Dillon. They just wanted some crazy shit. I don't think they were really serious about making a deal. The Colts anyway, but we'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Yeah, Bateman and Zay healthy could be a problem. I like both of those guys. Bateman puts up points when he's healthy. It's just a matter of staying healthy. He hasn't been able to stay healthy since he got in the league. Which is tough. But I think the whole Baltimore offense takes a step up. I think they throw more this year than they ever have before. We'll see how that turns out, but we shall see. Hollywood. I like Hollywood. Where you're getting Hollywood in redraft and even in Dynasty. I think I just mentioned it earlier. Dynasty is definitely a buy low. I like Marquise Brown. For redraft, I mean, you're getting them as what, your fifth wide receiver. I mean, fourth, fifth wide receiver. So you don't have to count on him for wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 production. But if he's your fourth wide receiver that you're slotting in there, like I'm perfectly fine with that. But I'm not I don't have him in any redrafts. Well, haven't done a ton. I think I'm in like 4 redrafts, but where you're getting them, the price is absolutely fine. It's a bargain. Israel's delusional. Cocaine is a hell of a drug. Yep. It's funny you say that. I just saw the John Jones the other day when somebody was like, "Fuck him up on coke, John." Cocaine is a hell of a drug, isn't it? Oh shit, man. Yeah, Deontay's a very huge sleeper, and people are still sleeping on Deontay, still because you know why everyone's on the Pickens train right now. But Deontay is getting 150 targets because he gets open, he gets separation, he's a great route runner. Pickens is not that, and he's not that yet. Let me say, because obviously those things can improve. But Pickens has got to improve the route running. They've got to produce the routes that they even give him. I mean, there's just too many go routes that they give him. If you saw last year. And he makes great catches. He's got great hands, obviously, but that's because he's not getting separation. He has to make great catches. So I'm a Deontay believer. I'm not on the Pickens train as everyone else is. If you have him in Dynasty, take advantage of the value that what he is right now, what he's valued at, and just tear up if you can. Take advantage and tear up or tear down, depending on your situation. But yeah, give me Deontay, man. Give me all the Deontay. No touchdowns. Wide receiver 30 with no touchdowns. That's not going to happen again. Hey, you're good, Jay. No worries, bro. No worries. No worries. No, it's DC talking cash to JJ. Yeah. Huge usage. If he gets touchdowns, he'll be a beast. Yeah, man. There's no way he has 0 touchdowns again. And even if he does, he was wide receiver 30. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get it because this is what we want, right? We chase the targets. We chase these guys that get open. We chase these guys with the high target share. Because these are the guys that finish consistently in the top 10, top 12. If you look at the wide receiver ones, most of all of them have high target shares, right? Or at least a high amount of targets. Absolutely not drafting. Like I said earlier, JT, I'm absolutely not drafting. Cup, I'm absolutely not drafting. Let me go through this draft board real quick. I'll tell you who else. Kenny Walker's going at a value, so I'm okay with taking Kenny Walker. George Kittle, Debo Samuel, absolutely not drafting anywhere. Terry McLaurin, I'm not drafting anywhere with the injury and the emergence of Dotson possibly. DeAndre Hopkins, major no for me. Not touching DeAndre Hopkins. Chris Godwin, I'm not touching Godwin in that offense. But to be fair, he is going at a pretty good value. So if he's your wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4, then I'm okay with that. But not as your wide receiver 2. Mike Williams, absolutely not touching. Mike Evans, I would have said beforehand, but now with like trade rumors possible, I'm okay with taking him late. And another one where he's your 4th, 5th wide receiver. Um, Who else we got here? Kadarius Toney, not touching him. Jamison Williams, not touching him. Let's look at some other RBs. If there's any RBs, I'm not touching. Pacheco, not touching Pacheco, not touching Herbert or any of those Chicago guys. Swift, not touching. Let somebody else have him. Damian Pierce, I'll let somebody else draft him as well. Brian Robinson, not touching. Give me Gibby all day. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else really. I think that's about it. Russell Wilson, not touching. I think that's about it. Just kind of running through them really quick. Oh, Pittman's another one. Not touching Pittman. That's another good one. I'm not touching Pittman either. There's no. Why should I take the chance in that offense if I can grab Deontay Johnson instead? Where was Pittman going anyway? Yeah, I've seen Deontay go after Pittman. That's not happening. Not for me. Not for me, but yeah, I'm just staying away from. There's just certain situations where it's just like it's not worth the risk to take. I mean, like Cup, the situation for Cup. I mean, for me, it's just not worth it to waste your first or second round pick because when that doesn't work out after the writing is kind of on the wall for us. I mean, yes, there is the upside there, but if it doesn't work out, you're fucked. Niners receiving besides Ayuk will regress because I think Purdy will also regress. I agree. I'm not a huge Purdy guy. I love Ayuk. He's in a contract year as well now. So interesting to see what they're going to do with Ayuk. Is he going to stay on the 49ers or they're going to let him go? And then on top of that, where does he go after that? He's going to be a hot commodity on the market. And we'll see, what offense he can go to next year if they don't resign him. I mean, they've already signed Debo. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm not messing with Kittle or Debo. I'll take Ayuk, especially where he's going. So, no, I don't like Pacheco. He's just a replaceable guy. He doesn't get red zone work. He doesn't catch the football. So, no, you got a healthy CEH now. We'll see if that continues. But you've got McKinnon there also. So no, I don't. I don't like Pacheco on the bench. Fine. Thoughts on Josh Downs? Let's keep it on the bench. 14 team, half PPR. Are we talking redraft? Not a chance in redraft. I don't think. Give me a backup running back instead of a guy like Josh Downs. And I like Downs. Downs was a top 5 guy for me coming out of college. I do like him on the Colts. We'll see what happens going forward, down the line, but that's something more for the future. I don't know about this year with Anthony Richardson. Going to be a low passing offense to begin with. They're going to be down. They're going to not be good. I'd rather take somebody else. I don't know how much upside Josh Downs is going to give you because I don't know if he can even hit. Even if I don't know if he can hit wide receiver even 3 production. Wide receiver 4 production is going to be tough. Going to be tough. Yes, I do have Instagram. Go check out. It should be in the description. Should be in the description here. My Instagram should be there. I don't have a draft guide. I have I put out top 12-ish rankings. I'm working on a kind of a big boardish rankings. I've been going through some personal things. I haven't had a chance to actually make my own kind of draft guide for this year. But if you follow me on Instagram and you tune in, I do just a lot of live content. So I'm on here live, just spitting out everything because I don't have the time to kind of put out videos or all this other shit. So I'm just live doing the shit for now. But yeah, Instagram is Dynasty Life Fantasy. Just check it in the description. The link should be right down there. No, I don't like Rashad White. You can't have Rashad White as your running back as your first running back in a 8-man league. Is that what you're talking about? Your 8-man league? No, 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 no. I don't like Rashad White at all. That's one that I missed. I'm all for Rashad White. I'm not playing with Rashad White. Was horrible between the tackles last year. The only good thing going for him is that there's nobody else there. He had a ton of catches last year, but Tom Brady threw the ball almost 700 times last year. That's not happening this year. So he's not going to get the catches that he had last year. Baker is one to check down a lot, but how many check downs is he really going to get? So, I mean, I like the volume that he may get receiving, but it's not going to be what we saw last year. So I'm just not touching Rashad White. It's not going to be a good team. It's not going to be a good offense. They're not going to be in the red zone a ton. So I'm not messing with him. James Cook, never had a big workload in college. Bill brought backs in to help Allen not be used on the goal line. So should be no, I agree. I agree with that. James Cook is a guy that I do like for this year, just on the pure volume alone and just the pass catching. I understand that he's most likely not going to be used on the goal line, so that touchdown upside might not be there. But I think he's a fine RB2. I think he's going to be a RB2, RB3. I think he's a safe kind of RB2-ish, RB3-ish. I think he's going to get enough work where he'll matter. We saw that kind of at the end of last year. Damian Harris can never really stay healthy anyway, so I do think he gets more work. Again, I don't think he gets the goal line opportunities, but he might not need to get the goal line opportunities to be to be playable or a flex play. So Michael, no. Michael Thomas, Odell Beckham. I mean, we're not in 2017 anymore. We're not messing with these guys. We're not messing with these guys. They're too old, and they can't stay healthy. And you see the legs start breaking down, the hammies, the ankles. These guys have those injuries. That's when it starts. We saw it happen to Julio. Within these last couple years. Last year with Atlanta, it started. Then he went to Tennessee, and he basically just died from there. I think Tucker ends up taking touches from White after about 5 games. I'm a big Tucker guy. I was a big Tucker guy coming in. The only problem with Tucker is that he went undrafted because of the heart situation he had, whatever it was. There wasn't a ton of details on it, but apparently he had some kind of heart issue. So he wound up going undrafted, but they did pay him like a fifth, sixth round pick, what they wound up giving him up front. So he's a guy that could wind up taking some touches, absolutely. Because, like I said, White is not good between the tackles. He's just not. If you look at it last year, he was not good between the tackles. Now, the offensive line is garbage, so yes, but I do like Tucker. I do like Tucker. I wouldn't put him on my bench in redraft just yet. I don't think. I don't think you need to do that yet. But in Dynasty, definitely stash, definitely taxi guy, man. Mixon or Najee? That is a tough one, but I'm gonna go Najee by a hair. But it's interchangeable. I mean, for me, it's the same tier, so you can really pick either of those guys. You can pick either of those guys. The thing with Mixon is that he is on a high-powered offense that's going to score a ton of points. He's going to get a ton of opportunities. And he needs to score touchdowns to do it. Najee is going to get the workload. I don't care what anybody says about Jalen Warren. He's not going to take meaningful touches away from Najee. Will Najee come off the field a little bit more? Yes, but I think Najee's still going to do his thing. He doesn't have to be out there for 100% of the snaps. So give me Najee just by a hair because I do still have some bad vibes with Mixon. I know, everything got cleared up as far as all the legal stuff, but he just gives me that kind of feeling. And Najee is a guy that after the injury last year came along strong, started playing really good down the stretch. Improved offensive line. They got offensive linemen, and they also wound up picking up Darnell Washington at tight end, which is essentially another offensive lineman. So I think that helps that offensive line again. I'm against White because they'll play from behind a lot. Yeah, well, that's the thing that people are thinking is that they're going to play but from behind a lot, and that he's going to catch a ton of passes. Now, yes, they're going to play from behind a lot, but is he going to catch a ton of passes? Again, they're not throwing it 700 times like Tom Brady did last year. So that would be my take on that. Um, I just rather have other guys in the area that White is going. Someone traded Michael Thomas and got Sam Howell back in one of my dynasty leagues. I was like, really? I mean, that's whatever. I don't believe in Sam Howell, but a lot of people do. We'll see what happens. But yeah, give me the quarterback. I'll take the quarterback. Is this one QB or super flex? If it's super flex, yeah, give me the quarterback. Absolutely. If it's one QB, I mean, you might as well keep Mike Thomas. You know, gut feeling, RB1 and wide receiver one. Nick Chubb would be my dark horse kind of RB1 or J.K. Dobbins. Those are kind of like my hot take possible RB1s. You could throw Bijan in there as well. Wide receiver one is still going to be JJ for me. I think he's got a real shot at 2,000 yards. But if I had to pick someone else, dark horse to kind of finish as wide receiver one, I would say Garrett Wilson with Aaron Rodgers, possibly, or even like a St. Brown if you want to get really frisky. You know, no JMO for the first 6 weeks. There's nobody there taking targets away from him. Um, So I would say those guys have a possible chance. If I'm looking at not only just the JJ or CMC type. That's what I go with. So in Superflex, Michael Thomas for Sam Howell, yeah, absolutely give me the QB, and then I'd immediately try and move Howell for whatever somebody will give me or whatever I can get. Mm. I can't believe they really postponed this damn. Shit. Dynasty value of Howell, he's just a replaceable QB2. It's just very slim chances with the draft value that he actually like becomes some kind of, great quarterback or great super flex quarterback. If I had to put an actual value on it, I mean, a couple seconds maybe. You're definitely not getting a first. So he's probably got like a mid-second-ish kind of value, and it could be more, right? Everybody's different. Every league is a little bit different, but I would say a second round pick. Super Bowl prediction. If I had to think of a Super Bowl prediction, I would say, if I'm biased, I'd say the Minnesota Vikings versus the Chiefs. I think I've got I don't know who's going to beat the Chiefs, to be honest. So I've got the Chiefs, and of course, I would want my Vikings to be there, Mm. but realistically, let's come up with one. The Lions. Imagine the Lions get there. But I mean, it's going to be tough for anybody to beat the Eagles. Like, honestly, I see again like a Eagles Chiefs. Imagine again, it's the same exact thing. Eagles Chiefs. I mean, they're by far the two best teams. ETN is like the 12 to 15ish range for me. That's where I've got ETN 12 to 15ish range. I think dynasty rankings I have on my page, like the top 24 at each position. Redraft, I only did the top 12, but yeah, ETN's about 12 to 15ish for me. He's got upside. I'm just worried about the Bigsby, right? Who's getting the goal line carries? Because ETN was not good at the goal line last year. Who's getting the pass catching work? I mean, they're saying they love Tank and his pass catching work. ETN was supposed to be the pass catching guy. They didn't really throw it to him last year, as a pass catcher enough anyway. So, do they change that this year? Do they give him more work in the pass game, which I hope. But another team that's going to be a pretty good offense. So he definitely has a chance to finish in the top 12. I'm just a little bit reluctant. It's hard to put him over, some of those other guys that are three down workhorses, like Pollard and Najee and Chubb and Saquon. Like for me, I can't put him in that tier. Vikings have a chance with their offense this year. Defense just has to do something. Yeah, I mean, we got to put up probably 40 plus a game to really have a shot. The defense is trash, but we got new defensive coordinator come through. So we'll see. I don't know how much worse it could have got than last year. So we'll see what happens. But I think that's why we went out and got Jordan Addison. We just said, fuck it. I mean, if the defense is bad, we might as well try and improve the offense and score a ton of points. This way, we can try and keep up. So I like the addition of Addison. I love it for the offense. We just gave Hawkinson the deal. So I think we're trying to build a nice young core of, young offensive guys. And then we got to fix the defense. So would you touch any of the Jets running backs? Yeah, at a certain point in the draft. I mean, I'm not taking anybody crazy early, but I mean, Brees is still going to be the guy for me. And I think in the second half of the season, we'll see Brees do his thing. I think Dalvin takes a lot of the work in the beginning half of the season. They'll ease back in Brees Hall. And I think by the end of the season, Brees Hall will kind of be doing his thing. But you can see the world where they just kind of split it up 50-50. Don't want to hurt, Brees Hall too much. Give him a little bit less of a workload. So It's tough. I mean, I don't have any of Brees Hall or Dalvin Cook. I mean, I had him in Dynasty. I had Dalvin Cook in Dynasty. I wound up trading him. I have Brees Hall in Dynasty, but I don't have any of them in redraft. But no, I wouldn't say that I wouldn't touch them. Like I'm okay with grabbing them. You just got to grab them at the right spots, right? A lot of people are sleeping on Brees now because Dalvin went there. Muffin's got to stay healthy all season though too. So and Brees's ACL, that was kind of a clean tear, so it wasn't as bad as Javante's. I don't know how this dude came back, but I wouldn't be surprised if Javante just goes ham and has some kind of Adrian Peterson crazy fucking comeback. Um, but yeah, it's interesting to see how Javante was able to come back so quickly. Michael Thomas for Sam Howell. I mean, Michael Thomas ain't even worth a second. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, Kevin. Could be a league winner for the end of the year. I think the second half is when he's gonna be turning it up. He'll turn it up in the second half. Absolutely. Cheetah obviously doesn't get punished for that incident that he had. Josh Jacobs still worries me a little bit too. I know he got the new the new deal, whatever, for the year. But something about worries me this year. We haven't seen Jimmy G play a full season lately, so I'm not 100% on Jimmy G there. I see the Chubb Hunt target share at first, but Brees will be their home run hitter late in the season. Yeah, I'm with you, bro. I'm with you. I do think Brees comes along in that second half. They're just trying to ease him back. There's no reason to rush like your franchise running back. No reason to rush him back. You've got kind of that win now team, so it makes sense they went out and got themselves some Dalvin for at least a season. And I think that he's going to be heavily involved early, but then you'll start to see little by little, Brees Hall start getting his work. So Skywalker, same thing, kind of that 12 to 15-ish range. There's a multitude of outcomes for Kenny Walker. That's the issue. You can look at it a multitude of different ways. You can say, hey, maybe Charps is there and he takes the pass catching work, and Kenny Walker turns into the next, Nick Chubb type. Or it can be just a split backfield. Both of those guys are capped. Both of them are capped at like RB 15-ish. And it just is what it is. Pete Carroll will give the ball to whoever has the hot hand. So that's always scary. And Charbonnet does he get the work at the goal line, right? I mean, same thing like kind of ETN, like what's going to happen? Who's going to get the work? But Kenny Walker was good last year. So it's tough. I'm fine with him as your RB2. I'm not having him as my RB1, but if you can grab him as an RB2, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. See, Stevie, I've been saying that all week about that trade. Which one, Kev? Oh, the Dalvin Cook one? Yeah, man. Since it first happened, that's kind of been the thought process. And if y'all missed the show with Talking Jets with Tigo, he covers the Jets extensively and has inside connections there. And we did a show with him earlier on when the Dalvin Cook news, Dalvin Cook wasn't there yet. It was just kind of brewing that they were looking into Dalvin Cook. And he had mentioned that, I'm telling you, look into it, that these guys, they're going to sign Dalvin Cook. It's just a matter of time. He mentioned the money that they were moving around to try and make room for it. Then obviously they did the whole Aaron Rodgers thing, which made even more room. So we've been told, from the Jets insider that they were going to sign Dalvin Cook eventually. It was just a matter of time. They want to keep Brees fresh, bring him back slow. No reason to bring him back too early and give him a ton of work if you don't need to, because they're going for a Super Bowl. You want him in the second half of the season. You want him in the playoffs to be nice and to be fresh. So yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine. Being that I punted on tight end and Cook Kincaid, I'm fine with punting on tight end. You're good. Should I drop him for Juwan or Dolchich? No, I wouldn't drop him. No, I'd keep him. I have Kincaid finishing as my tight end 12 in redraft, but he's another one where it might be like the second half of the season is where he really starts coming along. I don't expect too much early on, and I could be wrong, but we'll see. No, I'll hold on to Kincaid. You can always pick up Juwan or Dolchich if you need to. But again, all these tight ends are kind of the same after those top 3-ish, top 4. So just kind of, if you're gonna roll with Kincaid, just roll with Kincaid. Don't be trying to pick which one is gonna be the one that particular week. Just take one guy and play him. Play him throughout. Yeah, Jets are in all in mode. For real. They are trying to win it. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is going to be at least 2 years. They know they will be to have a true running back for the playoffs. Absolutely. Absolutely. So if they got two fresh guys, you got Dalvin and Brees Hall for the playoffs. I mean, they want to win. They're excited. I think, the Jets this year, it's just a whole different atmosphere. It's a whole different ball game. Aaron Rodgers is having the time of his fucking life right now. So Madison or James Cook as my RB2 for week 1. Who are these guys playing? I don't have the schedule up here, but let me see who these guys are playing. So where the hell's Madison at? So Madison, oops. They've got Tampa week 1. I like that. I like that. And then Cook's got the Jets week 1. Yeah, so we're going Madison there. Cook's going against the Jets. Give me Madison. Give me the guy that's going to get the majority of the carries against a bad team with a great offense. They might be running the ball out, when you get towards the end of the game there. Cook against the Jets. I mean, it's supposed to be a good defense this year. Just I feel safer with Madison. I feel safer with Madison. Give me some Madison there. Mm-mm-mm. We'll probably do a start sit show on. We'll do that on Wednesday, Tuesday or Wednesday maybe. I can't believe it's here already. Football is here. Guys, everybody out there, appreciate you guys for tuning in. Make sure you guys smash the like, smash that subscribe if you guys are new. But if anybody's interested in a Dynasty League, I am still trying to get one more in this Dynasty League. It's a follower league. Superflex, start 10. We need literally, I think, one more in here. No, we need two more now. Damn. All right, we need two more. So if anybody's interested in a Dynasty League, it's $50 a season. It's $100 up front. We're paying for the first 2 seasons. This way, it's only serious players. So we are paying up for the first 2 seasons. So it's $100 up front. and trying to do the draft ASAP. But I do need two more to fill that. So if anybody's interested, just let me know. Shoot me a DM. But throw anything else you guys got out there for me. Any questions? Throw them out there before I hop off. I'll be getting off shortly. There, I'll be back on tomorrow. Tomorrow's Sunday. So tomorrow, this draft is going to go down. Not today. So sorry about that. Not my fault though. I'm not in charge of the league. I'm not the commission. It's just a league I'm playing in. So we'll do that draft tomorrow. I'll do that live. I think Hammer will be on here as well. So we'll do more Q&A and we'll do this draft. But other than that, I mean, Simp, Jay, Caddy, Kevin, Fantasy Football, Triple Sevens, Caddy, who else I'm missing? Dylan, Jay, Kev. I know I said you guys right. Carter. Just make sure I don't miss anybody here. One Nation. Appreciate all you guys always coming out and supporting SXP, my dog. Appreciate all y'all for coming out. How many teams? It's a 12 team, Jay. It's a 12 team Superflex. Start 10. It is 1.5 tight end premium, so you get an extra half a point for the tight end catches. I'll shoot you the link if you want. In Dynasty, if you own CMC, are you trying to trade for Mitchell? I mean, I'm not going to spend some assets. I'm not going to spend my assets to go out of my way to get Elijah Mitchell. I mean, it'd, of course, be nice to have. It just depends what that manager is going to want from him. It really depends what that manager is going to want from him. Do you have maybe a backup running back on your bench that would benefit, the guy that has Mitchell? Then I do that. Like, I don't want to go out and spend like a second round pick or anything like that on Mitchell. But just keep a bunch of backup running backs on your bench. Get Jordan Mason. He's probably, I don't know if he's on anybody's bench or if he's just out there on waivers. I'm not sure how deep your rosters go, but Jordan Mason is a guy that I'm holding on to. Any running back that's on the roster you want to hold on to on your bench in Dynasty. Instead of some of those roster clogger wide receivers that you're never going to play, and they're the same as any other wide receiver that you can pick up off of waivers on any particular week. Stash the running backs, because those are the guys that are going to give you starter weeks. When guys get hurt, those are the guys that are going to give you some value if you need to trade one of those guys, if somebody needs a running back that week. No problem, One Nation. I appreciate you for coming out, man, always. Mitchell is the other guy's RB2. Oh, shit. Yeah, I mean, if you can do a Mitchell for Herbert swap, then I'm cool with that. Let's do the Mitchell for Herbert swap if he's okay with that. There's just a three-headed backfield over there in Chicago. I think Roshan is the guy that's going to take over eventually, but Justin Fields essentially is a running back. So yeah, you can miss me on Herbert. I'd rather have the peace of mind of having Mitchell if you have CMC. So that's a fine trade. Offer Herbert for Mitchell. See what happens. Patty says, is that Lena the plug in your profile pic? It is. Oh, God. It looks like it. I don't know. Maybe it's not. It looks like it. It's small, so it's hard to see, but oh, man. Oh, is that Jimmy G? I was trying to figure out who that was in the back because it's too small for me to see. Is that Jimmy G in the back? Did you Photoshop that in, or is that like is that a real picture where Jimmy G was actually in that? It's funny. It's funny. Oh, man. But yeah, guys, I'm about to get up out of here for the night. I am about to get up out of here for the night. I'll be back on tomorrow, 9:30 for this draft. So Guys, join me tomorrow. Do this draft together, and answer any other questions. A Photoshop picture I found. Okay, okay, okay. I figured that. I'm like, when the fuck would that ever happen? But that's funny. That is funny. But all right, guys, I'm about to be up out of here. Appreciate all y'all for coming out. As always, tune in tomorrow. We'll be back on tomorrow, 9:30. Probably be on here for 2 hours or so tomorrow. We'll have Hammer on. So yeah, let me know how the draft goes. Let me know how the draft goes. I am sending you my prayers because of what happened last year. Um, I forgot exactly who it was. I didn't know if you had Hurts, but you had some issues. I know going into the playoffs with some injured players. So yeah, draft accordingly, Caddy. Follow me on Instagram if you don't. I think you have me on Instagram if I'm not mistaken. But hit me in the DMs if you got any questions and need any help while you're doing the draft. Um, but yeah, I'm out of here, guys. Appreciate y'all.